And we're back with more NBA observations. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining me right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and get that latest notification when we go live with the latest Lakers Fast Break or NBA observations. But it wouldn't be an NBA observations without a great NBA observer indeed. It's a guy who we know and love here on this show. Every time out he comes in, and everybody seems to just appreciate everything that he does for us here at the channel. And of course, he has his own channel you need to check out. It's I Got Next Sports Media. It is Legend, great to have you back as always, my friend.
Hey, happy to be back, Gerald.
I come back though with some bad news. Yes, just really bad news. The NBA, in a moment of clarity, maybe after some of the pushback that's been given out there with what's going on with out there with what was announced by the Atlanta Hawks. So maybe some cooler heads have prevailed. Unfortunately, there's no Magic City night for Atlanta. The league has said, yeah, just not a good look. And I'm paraphrasing, but you're just saying to them it's not a good look. But on a serious note, should they have? Because Jamie Gertz, who is married to one of the owners of the Atlanta Hawks, she is a former television star, movie star, I guess you could say, just successful in the arts. I'll say that. She did a documentary, I believe, directed a documentary on the Magic City experience, the Gentlemen's Club in Atlanta, known for its variety, but also known for its great wings, but especially the lemon pepper wings that Lou William
Lemmy.
Yes, absolutely. But it's also named after. So, your thoughts, my friend, on the whole Magic City debacle? How did it get this far? And should they have closed it, in your opinion? Should they have shut it off? Because I think it would have been a lot of fun. I don't think should take it that. I think you should take it too seriously. Come on. It just people are still seem to have a problem with it. Oh, it's a gentleman's club. Can't do that. Can't have a gentleman's club promoting this. It's common knowledge. It's well known, and I just think people just take things way too seriously sometimes. It's no other overtones than you need it to be. And they were going to have wing specials and all that. There's going to be a lot of stuff tied into it. It just seemed like it was going to be a fun night for those in Atlanta that got spoiled by some outside forces for people who probably won't even, they weren't even going to be related to it. They just had an issue with it.
Yeah, I think it got really shut down because of a lot of people come in, like there's like someone from the Spurs come in and other people kind of jumped out there and they kept adding on and on. So I'm almost not too surprised that it ended up getting shut down. But just like you, Gerald, I didn't really think it was that that serious. It's just a have fun night. Everyone in the world knows what Magic City is. I have kids in my 9th grade class know what Magic City is, and they just got to high school. So it's like it's nothing new. It's nothing new even with high schoolers. And I didn't really think it was that serious. It wasn't like they were trying to promote anything too exotic. Just having a good time, good night. I know they were gonna do some wing specials, and a lot of Hawk fans were looking forward to that actually, and just having fun, just enjoying the Hawks game and having fun. But Atlanta Hawks just got shut down on it, and I saw the press release from what the Hawks said as well. Hawks was definitely not happy with it. Felt differently about the decision, but they respected and went along with it. So it's unfortunate, but it's the time of age we live in. In the council culture, so NBA ain't trying to deal with too much controversy. I guess I could say, and I think that's what the league was afraid of, possible controversy coming from the Hawks doing that, which is why I think it led to him being shut down.
Yeah, Luke Cornett, all right, he has an opinion on it. That's fine, but don't be a prude, man. Don't be too much of a
Exactly.
prude. What does the community? It's about the community. It's about bringing in people with certain things, certain events, certain promotions that might encourage more people to come in, especially in late in the NBA. Just being a bit of a prude, I think. Well, they weren't going to have actually topless dancers in
Yeah, exactly.
the arena. It's about the wings. Okay, you could say okay, tying into it. Just just a prude. Just stop being prude. Stop having issues with it. So what? If it's important to the community, if it's important to the community involved, doesn't that matter the most?
That's what I think. Because at the end of the day, the community is the one who is buying your tickets, buying your sodas, buying your snacks. They're the one you want to make happy. If that's what they really want, do it. It's not like we can have, like you said, no topless women walking through the arena or walking on the court, dancing during halftime. Like, you're going to have all that going on. You want to see stuff like that, you got to go to the actual place. But you're not going to see that stuff at the game. Just represent the wings, and, that's it. Nothing too exotic. But, got some people who just, yeah, some people who think who had their mind somewhere else in that part.
But the Atlanta Hawks can take at least a little solace knowing that they are riding a 6-game winning streak as we talk, leading into the former Magic City night on Tuesday night, which again will have a little less flavor there. But talk to me about the Hawks winners of 6 in a row, but that's only brought them to ninth place in the Eastern Conference. Um, I don't know. Is there anything that you can hold on to hope to? What is there to build around? I mean, Jalen Johnson, we thought Nikhil Alexander Walker, they're pretty good success stories, but it hasn't really held up to, I think, the promise that was, we kind of thought they would have before the season started.
Yeah, it just haven't panned out the way a lot of us Hawk fans really thought it was going to pan out. But I will say I do like that pickup of having Kaminga with the Hawks. He has looked really good with the Hawks. Him and Jalen Johnson do look pretty good together. That athleticism and not for sure if you've seen Gerald on social media or not, but there was a Hawks game where you can actually hear it's a particular section where you have I forgot what they call them, but the wild Hawk fans that we like to call them, that literally said loud enough the whole stadium can hear, "Thank you, Warriors, because you gave us him. We appreciate that."
Well, it seems like that they're doing something similar to what the Clippers are trying to do with the wall, just a certain section of the arena that they know is going to be for their devoted fans. So, yeah, seems like just like Atlanta, we could go ahead in the Lakers area, say thank you for taking on Cardio Gabe, because Luke Kennard has been a big boost to our bench. So thank you, Atlanta, for doing that. But you could also say thank you, Golden State, for what they did by trading Kristaps Porzingis for Jonathan Kuminga, because like you said, he's been a big boost, obviously leading to a big part of that 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, and he can now really be free. You don't have the Steve Kerr shackles on him anymore. You're free to play basketball now. And he's looked to me a lot happier. That too. And I think that's a big thing. When you're playing happy, you're gonna play well. When you're playing sad and depressed, you're not gonna play well at all. And that's the big difference you're seeing right now with him being in Atlanta. And you actually have a crowd cheering you on. You actually have a coach allowing you to play basketball, not stop you, not getting in your way, not giving you DNPs or benching you. And when you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you free to play basketball. And he looks a whole lot better. And I think just that changing environment done a lot of good for him. Maybe that will work for Dalton Connect whenever he goes wherever he goes. He might get out of his slump and start playing basketball again.
I would say, in fact, everybody has thought that once he gets a change of scenery, it's going to happen for him. So we'll see what happens because we've seen players like Landry Shamet, like Luke Kennard, who are not really good on the defensive end, but are able to be effective enough on the offensive end, especially from behind the arc, to justify their time out there on the floor. So again, I just think it's going to come down to a matter of can he develop into the shooter that a lot of people think he can develop into, that he was for like a brief period of time with the Lakers, the beginning of his career.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to see from Kaminga. Being that free, you end up blossoming to what you could really be in without having somebody holding you back. And so far, that's what we're seeing in Atlanta. And who knows, him and Jalen Johnson could end up being the future. Those two could end up being the two to take the Hawks to the next level. The only time will tell, but we'll see. But there is a lot of Hawk fans who want him to coach too. Though. That is out there. I don't see that a lot.
Now, the irony is that the team that Atlanta traded with, your two favorite teams traded with each other, and your other favorite team, the Golden State Warriors, they have almost the same exact record, despite not playing as well since the trade as the Atlanta Hawks. They're just have a game behind in the win column, but they are fading fast in the
Yeah.
West, and I don't know what the status is going forward with Steph Curry, but this is a team that could be in real trouble if they're not already.
Yeah, it looking like they might be in trouble already. The way they are, just dropping like a rock, and it gets to the point where I'm like, is it really worth to bring stuff back? Is it really worth it? Because like you're not finna go anywhere. You're not finna win anything. You're gonna go home in the first round. It's just like, what's the point at this point?
Well, at
You
this
might as
point,
well
they may not even make the first round of the playoffs. They may just be in
exactly
a play-in team. So
play
we
your
will
team and go home.
because the Clippers have continued to play okay despite all the trades that they made. Portland is still there, so we will see what happens. Both the Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers are only a game behind in the win column, behind the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see exactly if they can put things together and ahead of the Golden State Warriors, or if the Golden State Warriors will be able to fend them off for eighth place in the Western Conference. But uh, Kristaps Porzingis is a
Oof.
key to your future, at least short term on that. That's while he's still there. Is he coming back? And what is his status when he does? He will.
Is that mysterious illness is something else. Need to
Well,
do a
he
study
played
on
on
it.
Saturday. I'm sorry, he played on Saturday.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, he did play on Saturday. It just I can't really count on too much from him, and it just this whole entire team is pretty much at the point where it's almost like what's to cheer for anymore at this point. You pretty much know the inevitable at this point. You pretty much know what's about to happen, and it kind of reminds me of a horse is on his last leg, and do I really want this horse to keep suffering? Just put out his misery, that type of situation, and that's kind of how I kind of view the rest of the season for the Warriors. It looks like it's pretty much over with, and I'm kind of at the point I probably rather go into the summer and be over with, and let's move on to the next season because there's nothing left in this season at this point. I think this team has pretty much has hit its ceiling. It's just not much else you can really do with this team, and it just almost you really have to ask yourself, why should I bring stuff back? To risk getting hurt for nothing, basically. You're not gonna go anywhere. Like you said, Gerald, pretty much gonna be a play-in team. Honestly, I would probably pick against them in the play-in. To be honest, I would pick the Clippers or Suns to beat them. That's just just from what I've seen, and I just don't think it's at this point even worth to bring stuff back. The only reason I think this season might could have been saved if you had been managed, if you were able to get Giannis. That might would have flipped in. That still ain't no guarantee. I think you still need to do some work to have fits the roster a little bit. But it just don't look good. Just Draymond and a bunch of guys out there. And it's like he's building for the future at this point. I think the best thing for them to do is just go on with the mindset of let's prepare for next season and call it. But I would like to see stuff play though. I would like to go to the game on the 21st. You know. But I'm holding out to see what happens before I buy some tickets.
I don't blame you. There should be plenty available, especially since they don't seem to want to accommodate the fans with a Magic City night. So I don't expect the seats to sell out anytime soon in response. But with the teams that are mired in the middle, something that we don't usually talk about, like your teams, I thought I'd go ahead and create that theme for this show is weeding out any of these middle teams in the playoffs right now, or as far as in the running for the playoffs right now. So I think a team that you might want to think about is the Miami Heat. Who are the Miami Heat? Are the Miami Heat the team that has won five in a row? Has a nice victory over Detroit the other day. Are they that team? Or are they the team that also has some really bad losses to Brooklyn, to other teams as well, the Bucks among them, some really nasty losses as well. What team is the Miami Heat at this point?
To me, the Miami Heat is a team that is kind of definitely in the middle. Like they're not terrible, but they ain't great either. They just decent. And to me, the Miami Heat team is kind of hit its limit as well. I don't expect this Miami Heat to go too far in the playoff.
See, that's the thing, though. They've had teams that are this mediocre before that suddenly come alive in the playoffs. I'm just not feeling it this time around.
I'm not either. I don't think you're gonna see what you saw a couple years ago when Miami went on that crazy run with Cardio Gabe was still in the team, and when you got the real Gabe before he came to LA, and I guess he left for town in South Beach. But we ain't gonna see that again. I don't believe, not this time around. I just don't think that team can do it. I can't see them going into a series with like Cleveland or Boston and go beat them. I just can't see it. Detroit, even though I know they number one team, I might can see that happening just because of the inexperience. It's still there, still young guys, and it's already out there. You stop Cade, you stop them. It's pretty much what it is, and that stuff is out there. But so maybe they could surprise everyone and pull an upset on Detroit. I could see that happening. But Boston, Cleveland, them two teams got too much experience. I just don't see that happening. Too much, too much.
Let me ask you this with Miami. I mean, because a lot of it's been based around the prospects of who can play really well at a high level with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. That's been the cornerstone for many years now with the Miami Heat. Is that really the way you want to continue to go? I mean, Bam Adebayo has been a cornerstone for Miami Heat now for a decade, seemingly, and uh, I just don't know if that time is still there. I mean, he's not having a bad season. I know last year was kind of a down year for him. He's having an okay season. 19 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. Not too bad, but he is just I think people were expecting more from him in his career. I think people were wanting more in his career. And he's only been above 20 points a game in his career, surprising enough, for a guy that's been reached the Olympics and reached the finals before. He's only averaged 20 points one season in his entire career. And now that he's in his what, six, seven, eight, ninth season with the team. I said 10, but ninth that was just off the top of my head, but ninth season with Miami. At this point, where do they expect it to go with Bam? And should they continue building around him?
Yeah, Bam is. I think a lot of people expected him to take it to another gear, and it just never happened. That's just one thing I would say about Bam is the difference between him and his girlfriend. His girlfriend is definitely probably one of the best to play in the WNBA to come through. He just haven't even he went nowhere near close like that for the NBA. I think Bam could have went maybe another level, but it just never happened. And I think Bam is just gonna be one of them players where he was just a good player. Not a superstar. Not a star. Maybe close to being an all-star, but that's about it. He just haven't taken to another level. And I think that what Miami probably was hoping for, that maybe him and Tyler Hero both would take it to another level, and it just didn't happen. And eventually, I think Miami going to probably have to make a decision on, well, what are we going to do with these two guys? Do you really want to pay these guys a lot of money, knowing that you're not going anywhere in the Eastern Conference? You ain't getting to no finals. You're not getting to conference finals. You're barely making the playoffs. Do you want to pay these guys a lot of money? Like that's, do you really want to commit that much money into basically nothing, or just trade them off for assets and just start over? I think they're going to have to eventually go to that point and have to really sit down and consider that.
Speaking of the mediocrity level, as far as in the East, what's going on with Philadelphia? I mean, this is a team with a lot of names and a lot of talent on that roster. As far as Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, Paul George has some PED issues. I don't know what to make of this team because for every time you think they're starting to put things together, they don't. And this is a team that I was way off on last season. I thought that team was going really far last season, and they didn't even come close. And this year looked like it was going to be a real bounce back season for a while, but lo and behold, as the season has dragged on, they have dragged themselves down to a team that's just barely above 500. I don't know what to make of them at this point anymore. Is this a team that you should stick together and keep together? Or is this a team that maybe in Philly needs to go ahead and start breaking things apart?
The way it's going, looking like it's getting toward the, it's time to break this trio apart and go and start building. Maybe you want to keep Maxey because he is young. Maybe try to build around him wise and see what you can go from there. But I think Paul George, I think he ship himself. And I think he got too much going on off the court. Age has really been showing. I think his clock is definitely starting to wind down. Joel Embiid still got some stuff in the tank. He has been better being healthy wise. I give him that. He's been doing a lot better with that. But it just still ain't leading to a lot of wins. So maybe it might get to the point where you just, okay, let's build around Maxey. Start over with Maxey being the leading part of the rebuild, and we send Paul George and Embiid, going to get some good assets for them. Go and send them out. Because I think some people in the league probably love to have Embiid not being the main person of their team. He can be a good, maybe third, second
He's
option.
so expensive,
But
though.
he's
It's
expensive.
just, yeah, that's the thing. If you're committing to a Joel Embiid, you don't know how many games you're going to get, and he's just so expensive in doing so, which is part of the problem. I don't even know if they can deviate from their current plans.
Yeah, that's the problem too. They gave up too much money, and that's part of what why Joe was saying when he was saying about Austin Reeves. You don't want to tie up that much money because it could ruin everything. You're taking a gamble. And I think that's what 76ers did. They took a gamble with Embiid and just haven't paid off. And now it's, yeah, probably hard to get any team out there to bite on that contract. Every time you look at it, you just be like, yeesh.
Well, again, we're sifting through the mediocrity here. It is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. I'll live through the last two members of the mediocrity pool in the East, and that is Orlando and Toronto. Toronto has drifted back into the pack after
And
really
dude,
starting out the year pretty promising. They're 9 games above 500, but they're only 5-5 in their last 10. This is a team where it seemed like that they built a very expensive but pretty mediocre team that just it's only going to go so far. It has a ceiling. This team has a definite ceiling that it will not cross, a definite threshold they will not cross. And in doing so, I don't know how they get themselves out of it because of what Masai and now his successor in the GM slot has done since.
well, I'm definitely gonna be the one that's the part to tell Toronto fans or anybody out there. I saw that one coming. I kind of called it early in the season. I thought they were gonna come back down to earth at some point. They started off hot, looked really good at the beginning of the season, and they started coming back down to earth to what they really are. It's gonna be hard to fix that team because, like you said, it's an expensive team. And good luck getting somebody to take some of them pieces because I know I wouldn't want them, But for a cheaper piece, I will. Yeah, for a cheaper price, but too expensive. And you kind of see why he's not in office no more right now. See why he lost his job because he did pretty bad in committee contracts.
Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, they're
Yeah,
nice rotation players, good stars. Obviously, they're really good for their team. They're players as far as possible low end all stars or high level role players. I don't know what you classify those two. They're good. I guess you could say they're good players, but at $40 million a piece or
it's a lot.
thereabouts, I just don't know. I complain all the time about, do you want to commit 80 to $90 million plus on a backcourt of Luca and Austin? I think that's the
Mm.
same thing they should have asked themselves too before they made that trade with New Orleans. Do you want to commit to a Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes tandem in Toronto? I guess the fact that they can't get free agents there makes it a little bit harder. So anytime you can get talented guys that are like right around all-star level or thereabouts, okay, that sounds good. And I think part of it, like I said, being in Toronto has its disadvantages when you're trying to get good players on your team.
Yeah, because people, if it's just not a desired location, it's gonna be hard to get somebody to come up there and play. That's the same thing with Oklahoma at first too. Nobody didn't want to go to Oklahoma to play basketball, and you had to build through the draft, and that's what they did. So I mean, for Toronto, they're gonna have to figure it out how to maneuver around what's been done, and they probably gonna have to build through the draft to find that next star, that next Kawhi Leonard star to take them to the next level. Because, like I said, a lot of people is not looking to run to Toronto right now. Nobody looking to run to Drake City right now to go enjoy the Raptors. So you're gonna have to probably build through the draft and through trades, and it's probably why they would end up. It's probably why they took what they did because it was their best shot. Unlike the Lakers, it ain't hard to get nobody to come to LA. That's easy. All you got to do is say, "Look at behind me. Do you want to live here?" That's all you got to say, and they'll say, "Sign me up."
So the last team we're going through as far as on the mediocrity list when we go through this is the Orlando Magic. And Orlando Magic, a lot of people, myself, Alfred
Very
Esme was so
disappointed though.
high. We were so high. This is one of the most disappointing teams in all of the NBA right now. I mean, true, they are playing a little bit better. They won 4 in a row. They put some things together, but they're still only 7 games above 500. I think a lot of people, including myself, thought that they would be in the conversation of the Clevelands, New Yorks, Bostons, and Detroits, and they're nowhere close right now. And it just seems like it's the same old things. They are just not that good offensively to be able to get them where they want to go. Franz Wagner, the injury to him is been obviously very tough, but Paulo Banchero,
Yeah,
uh, it's sad because the guy it gets like the previous game. He got 25 and 15 against the Timberwolves recently, and it still doesn't matter. People think that right now he is just not that guy, not that superstar that you should build a team around. Just not playing at that kind of level. I mean, he's 22, 8, and 5. That's again for a young player at 23, that's not too bad, but I think being the first overall pick, being a guy that they wanted him to build around. I don't know. I still think there's a chance for him, but he's got to be at least a little bit more efficient in how he goes and takes care of things. And I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he could take that next step, but I want to think that he can.
yeah, it's disappointing how the match has been this season. I definitely thought it would have been better as well, like in that top five, somewhere around that range, battling for that NBA spot, trying to get to the NBA Finals, and it just haven't happened. Orlando still with really the same issue as last season. Still need more scoring, and some of their pickups, just like getting Baines over the summer, it still ain't enough. I think they really need to do a little bit more of. They need to do a lot more looking for some more offensive players over the summer. Find more guys who can help put some points on the board. and then their guy who should be the superstar, he got to step up. He got to
Yeah.
take it to the next level because I think he's better than it. He shows he have flashes where he look really good, and then he have moments where he look really bad. So it's just like, you know, you got to step up because Orlando is really, to me, is not a bad city. I think you can attract some players to come to Orlando. Tax free state, nice city. You got a family. Disney World Universal Studios right here in the city. I mean, it's a pretty nice little area to live at. So this shouldn't be that hard to get the right talent to come to Orlando versus trying to go to Toronto. But they gotta build the right team together, and they need Pablo to take it to the next level. And hopefully, maybe next season it will happen. It will happen. But at the same time, some players just isn't cut from the same cloth. This don't happen.
To weed through the mediocrity in the West, as far as finishing that part of it off, uh, we'll go through Portland and the Clippers because they have essentially have a very similar record. The Clippers, they were once the biggest disappointment. I think still to an extent the fact that they're here is a disappointment with their season after what went on with this team that the oldest team ever in the NBA to start the season has not. I mean, they started out terrible. I think they were like 6 and
Yeah,
20.
21.
Yeah, 6 and 21. Then they were the hottest team in the NBA, and now they've just been okay, not too bad, but okay, because they just don't have seemingly what because those trades that they made and traded away Harden and Zubats, it's just hard for them to go ahead and generate enough points on a nightly basis. Kawhi is having possibly his best statistical regular season of his entire career, and I think it's getting wasted. Ben Matherin has been great as far as on the offensive end, and Derek Garland is something that they're going to go ahead and hopefully provide for the future for them because that's what they're looking at with them because their future might be very troubled after the decision made, whatever that may be, by Adam Silver. So, your thoughts on the Clippers? Where do they go from here?
To me, if I'm the Clippers, I would probably look towards the future a little bit more. You're not going to win a championship with Kawhi by himself, and maybe the backcourt might can give you at least a little decent way to end this season. They're not going to go to the finals this year. We know that ain't happening. They're not going to the conference finals. They're gonna probably play either the Spurs or Oklahoma. It's gonna be one of the two, and you're gonna probably go home. So it's not if I'm them. After all the trades you done made too, sending out James Harden, all that, I would probably start looking at a possible rebuild, especially not knowing what's gonna happen with this Kawhi Leonard situation. Because depending on what he say, he could avoid his whole contract. Well, now Kawhi Leonard's a free agent, and then you might end up losing your draft picks. If that happens, you're in a world of trouble. You in a world of trouble if that happens. So it's almost like they should look to start rebuilding for the future, but at the same time, I don't know if you can because I don't know what's going to happen with the Adam Silver situation. Because if he takes your draft picks, I don't know what to tell you at that point. I mean, you're screwed. Other than maybe trade what you got and see can you get some assets, but
Trade suspended Kawhi. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. That might be their only option. But we will see what happens with the Clippers. Portland Trailblazers, a team that also had a lot of promise coming back into this season. You know, they had Denny Advia, who is taken that next step, has been injured as of late, so that's kind of derailed things for Portland a little bit. But uh, there is some hope. They do have some young talent that I
they
think
did.
that eventually that they could put together. Advia has been sensational for them when he's been there. And if Scoot Henderson can finally put things together, he just had the best game possibly of his entire career the other night with 28 points. Finally, some efficient shooting from him. If they can just have some players stay healthy and be on the court, work with each other, and they've got a nice young nucleus to build around. some aging expensive vents that they probably have to get rid of sooner than rather than later if they want to take that next step. But again, a team that, you know, on paper and in reality could be something to talk about down the road if their young players develop.
Yeah, Portland could have a bright future. Their young players definitely develop into the way that we think they can, and they can learn from Damian Lillard too. Someone who has been deep in the playoffs before, know what it takes to advance to the playoff. So they can at least learn from Damian Lillard while he's still there. And that's the one thing I will still never understand. What was the point of getting Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard when you're not in win now mode? So that's a little bit odd still to me. But they got some good young pieces that they can really build upon. And that's the one thing I would say, maybe Miami may have to eventually do too, is look toward the future and start drafting some good young pieces and, go from there. You got to start from somewhere. A lot of free agents ain't looking to go to Portland. So you're gonna have to do the Oklahoma route and build through the draft, build through trades to build a championship team in the future. So Portland gonna have to kind of model the Oklahoma style.
The last team on this list, I guess you could say, because they're the only other playing team we haven't talked about. Although it's funny because they're only 2 games behind the Lakers in the Pacific Division standings. The Lakers are only a game out of third place in the Western Conference standings.
It's
So
crazy
you
right
could
there with the
literally
West.
say that, yeah, you could literally say that this team could take itself, if they went on a run, they could take themselves from seventh place in the Western Conference to third place in the Western Conference within, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks' time. And that is the Phoenix Suns, who I think are playing better than advertised. And a lot of people out there are crediting the. So funny. They have 2 years in a row, they brought in a world championship coach and they ended up firing those world championship coaches. But a guy that has been a league, I guess, assistant, Jordan Ott, including for the Lakers, has really done a great job building a culture and a team that has surprised, has Devin Booker when he's in there happy, Dylan Brooks when he's not getting a DUI, playing at a all-star level, a team that does have some things that they might want to count on or might look forward to down the road.
Yeah, they can just get healthy and Dylan Brooks stay out of trouble and get healthy too. They can really pull themselves out that play impossible. I wouldn't say they're necessarily a bad team because it's like I said, the West is so hard. Everybody being right there with each other. That's the one thing I say about the Western Conference. Every single year, it never fails. Everybody just right here with each other every year, every year. But Phoenix is not out. Is not in bad shape. Like they can easily, like you said, in 2 3 weeks, third seed. They can easily beat her. They just got to go on a nice little run. Booker and them just got to stream out 5 6 games in a row. So that makes the Lakers, the Houston Rockets, T Wolves, Denver have to look behind you because they're right there. But they also put pressure on. But they also need some help too. Not only they got to win their games, you need the people up top to kind of lose some games or be knocking each other down some. So they need to do their part, but they need some help too though. But Phoenix ain't in bad shape to me. I think Phoenix is not as mediocre as a lot of other teams that's in that area. They just unfortunately in a tough conference where everybody is neck and neck with each other.
And like you said, they could easily, 2 3 weeks down the line, play be playing as a third place level team. Crazy enough in the Western Conference, Devin Booker is finally had a really good game coming back, 30 points, 10 assists. Last time around against the Charlotte Hornets, finally starting to put things together. Jalen Green, we'll see if Jalen Green can continue his success. Colin Gillespie, they
Yeah,
found this kid and just
yeah,
have
he's been a
shined
good
him
pickup.
up. Yeah, he's been really just a sensational player for them out of nowhere. And that's a possible really big discovery right there. And Rasheer Fleming now is getting some time for this team and it's really paying off with some points on the coming off the bench as a rookie. Hint, hint to Rob. Again, another missed opportunity. Although that one picked 31. Nah, I don't think. You know what? I'll give him slack on this one. He probably could have. He probably couldn't have gotten that far up to get this kid. So his kid is finally producing for the Phoenix Suns. But come on, Malawak, despite everything, his introduction to the league has been probably one of the most disappointing of all the rookies. They still are able to go ahead and play effectively and win. And while I don't expect him to hop through four teams in the Western Conference, I do expect them to go ahead and be a feisty playoff team that could, just make things interesting for whoever they play against.
Yeah, they definitely at least make things, interesting. No, then I'm not gonna say the Phoenix Suns gonna go in here and get to the NBA final like they did in 2021. No, I won't go that far. But they can at least make some noise and you never know, pull an upset. Because the one thing I will say, and I tried to tell somebody this earlier today, 3 through 6, I wouldn't be surprised if the Suns upset one of them. I wouldn't be surprised too much. Because the Suns are capable of doing it. I don't think the Suns can beat the Phoenix, can beat like the Spurs or the Thunders, no. But 3 through 6, I think that's possible. Suns can pull that upset. That's doable. Because to me, 3 through 7 is all really about even with each other, honestly. They're about almost the same with each other. So I can see them making some noise in the playoff and possibly pulling an upset. Especially if you get Houston. Whoever get Houston, that's an opportunity you can take advantage of. Because the injuries have really ate that team up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are targeting the Houston Rockets. People ask me, what I thought on the post game. What you been there for? And I said of the teams, although I want to meet up in the playoffs in the first round, I think Houston is the one. I'd probably say right now that the Lakers have the best opportunity for succession at right now. That's just because of the based off of what I've seen with the injuries, key injuries that have really hurt the Houston Rockets with Steven
Steven
Adams
Adams and all
and
that.
Fred Van Vliet. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. So again, some great NBA observations by my good friend Legend. Before we heading out, it's time for the cheap plug, man. What's going on with your awesome channel? I got Next Sports Media.
I'm probably maybe in a little bit. I might go live on my channel, and I'll probably talk about the return of Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics. Him coming back, and man, him coming back make me about almost want to say Boston to the finals now. That looks very very possible now. And then also got to talk about how the Lakers play some good defense against the New York Knicks. How the Warriors maybe should consider shutting down Steph.
Okay, there you go. Some good topics right there. It is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Please go ahead, like and subscribe today to I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, again, you killing it as always with your insight and your expertise on the NBA game. Any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
My last thought I would say is I knew it was gonna happen yesterday when the Lakers won. The controversial LeBron James was gonna happen. I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen. I just had that feeling. And that's all I see on the internet right now.
It's, the record's there. It's 9 and
Yep.
2 without him. I don't know what to say. Again, I just think, I'm not so anti LeBron or, LeBron is bad and evil. And I'm just done. I'm just done. Let him go and finish off his career somewhere else. And it's just time. It's just time for this breakup to happen. You stand by as that guy who sees your friend, and then you're watching your friend date this girl for so long. They're still together, but you're asking yourself why. Maybe they don't even know why. It's just they don't want to say the words that maybe you think they should say. It's just time to just move on. Just time to break up, move on, find better people for the rest of your career, LeBron, and for the Lakers, time to move on and just the LeBron era. It got one title and just move on from that. And I'm
Yep.
good with that. One title is better than nothing. So
Better than zero.
yes, better than how many Magic City nights there will be in Atlanta. So yes, indeed.
Thanks a lot, Adam Silver.
I just don't think they get it. I just again this. people from the outside, Luke Cornett's and everybody that might have had an issue with it, just they don't understand how important that place is to the community of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think they get it, and I don't think they ever will. They just see it on the surface as this evil place of sin, and you don't understand it's a huge place, big commitment with the fact that they make damn good wings. And I think they just have to understand that it's a place that the community, Atlanta wouldn't have commissioned it in the first place if they didn't think it was going to generate a lot of income, a lot of interest, and a lot of goodwill to the Atlanta base and Atlanta community. But it is what it is, my friend.
Yep, it's what it is.
Prudes. That's all I'll say. But it is, of course, the NBA observations. It is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. He'll be with us hopefully when he can for our post games, and then also me, Gerald Glassford. If you have any questions or comments, please put it down below in the comments. I'm always glad to answer them for you, and your thoughts and NBA observations out there as well. So for Legend from I Got Next Sports Media, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening, and we'll be back with all the stuff that's going on the Lakers Fast Break podcast, and of course, also as well as we continue to provide you some NBA observations.